It was 10 a.m. this past Wednesday. I was drinking a can of fake beer, struggling to write this dang sermon, wondering what are we all doing here? Oh, la dee da dee 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 dum, la dee dee da dee dee da dee dum dum dum. Got to share a good word. I'm the minister. You're seeking a good word today. We're all in the mood for some comfort here and hoping we'll all be okay. Billy Joel's song, The Piano Man, was not supposed to be the inspiration for this sermon, and it's not. But it was probably in my head because I heard Michael Brass and Jerry Robertson playing it Tuesday night at Gators and Gypsies in Statesboro. I actually chose the song For What It's Worth, written by Buffalo Springfield's Stephen Stills, because it's about troubled times, similar to what many of us feel we have today. But it was written by Stills in 1966. Here's some information from internet sources and AI about the writing of that song. The inspiration may not be what you think. Picture this: young people and police clashing on the Sunset Strip in Hollywood. The tension was palpable. Now, was this related to the Vietnam War or discontent over the oppression of any number of minorities, or perhaps political discontent? No. It seems local residents and businesses were fed up with late night traffic congestion caused by crowds heading to clubs and music venues along the strip. So they pushed for ordinances to curb loitering and to have some sort of strict curfew. In fact, the curfew was nobody should be out after 10 p.m. But the young music fans saw this as an infringement of their civil rights. So on November 12th, 1966, flyers were circulated inviting people to join demonstrations. Rock radio stations announced a rally outside of Pandora's Box on Sunset Boulevard, and as many as 1,000 demonstrators, including future celebs like Jack Nicholson and Peter Fonda, gathered to protest the curfew's enforcement. What started peacefully soon turned chaotic, and the unrest continued throughout November and December in 1966, leading some clubs to shut down. Amid this backdrop, Stephen Stills wrote For What It's Worth. So he had the song and he was handing it to the others. He said, for what it's worth, look at this song. And that's how it's got its title. The title is not in the song, of course, but he wrote it as a reflection of those turbulent days and times on Sunset Strip. But his mind had to be on other troubles as well, I think. Certainly the lyrics are applicable to many of the concerns of the 60s and the concerns we still have. Perhaps concerns that we will continue to have for at least the rest of many of our lifetimes. Here's a meme that I posted on Facebook before the election. The little girl is saying to the mom, "But what if they lose?" She says, "Then we keep fighting for the rights of all people." The girl says, "And what if they win?" The mom says, "Oh, dear girl, it's still the same answer." When I first decided to do a sermon based on this song, I saw pictures that I felt were more relevant for this time and place to be used with it. But why is a song that was written in the 60s still relevant today? Didn't we do all that stuff in the 60s and the 70s to make a difference? Didn't it make a difference? Yes, it did. We are better off than we were in terms of respecting and honoring human rights and in our efforts to live more sustainably and more. We are. But I'm no Pollyanna. This past Tuesday was a huge setback for us. And if you've been paying any attention at all before and after the election, you know the possible negative consequences of this election for many folks that we care about deeply, and to our standing internationally, and for this planet. So I'm not going to dwell on those possibilities. I assume you know those, because though I feel it's fine to acknowledge our grief together, I don't want to lead us to more depression today. Instead, I'd like to move on to the, well, now what do we do part of this message. The first thing we have to do is to take care of ourselves. There's nothing we can do for others or for this country or this world if we don't stop sometimes to take care of ourselves. I'm going to ask you to do something I don't usually do within my messages, and ask you to find 2 or 3 folks near you. If you're at home, grab a piece of paper and a pencil and turn around and look and make sure everyone is included, even if it means moving yourselves. And when you're in your group, share some things you have done this week or will do in the future to make sure that you are okay. Whether it's gardening or exercising, meditating, singing, we all have things that work better for us. What works for one may not work for another, but you can get some ideas from other people. So share those with one another. Make sure everyone has a chance to share at least one thing. Or you can pass, of course, and just listen to others. And I'll ring the bell as we go forward. Shorten this for this recording. Thanks for your good work. Now, after we've taken care of ourselves, we can continue to work together for justice for all, peace in this world, a sustainable future on this earth, women's reproductive rights, the rights of all, regardless of gender, sexuality, race, ethnicity, nationality, or religion, security and safety from gun violence, and more. Some have said that people like us don't understand what America is really like. And that's why many of the candidates that we supported did not win. Well, I contend that we do know what America is like, the good and the bad. It may feel like a dark time for us right now. Here's what Kamala Harris said about that in her wonderful speech Wednesday evening. She said, there's an adage a historian once called a law of history. It's true of every society across the ages. The adage is, only when it is dark enough can you see the stars. She goes on to say, I know many people feel like we are entering a dark time, but for the benefit of us all, I hope that is not the case. But here is the thing, America. If it is, let us fill the sky with the light of a brilliant billion of stars. Now, I see a bunch of those stars right here in this room and beyond for those watching this recording or on Facebook. But our light will shine brighter if we're shining together. So to do that, we need to work together and support one another. And I can think of no better vehicle for doing that than this congregation. You know, when I was growing up, I used to see signs that said, Statesboro is a bird sanctuary. And I'd ask my mama what that meant. She said, well, if a bird is out in the countryside, people can shoot them. But if they come into the Statesboro city limits, they are safe. And that was my first understanding of the word sanctuary. Now, later, I came to understand that it was also a big room in the church where the folks church worshiped and had Christmas pageants and the like. But big room for worship is not what sanctuary means. It means a safe place. Folks, we are a sanctuary congregation, a safe place. where folks can be themselves. I knew that when I first found out about about that, and I couldn't wait to be a part of a place like this. Who else would put up with someone like me? Unitarian Universalism was my salvation. And we can be that for many others, whether they ever step into this room or not. Many of the folks that I provide pastoral care for have never come into this building, but they know that a UU minister is someone they can be honest with and safe with. That's how we are known as Unitarian Universalists. So today, the day of our annual meeting, I'm making a plea with you that this sanctuary, this congregation and its ministries be here for others in the future, especially our children, youth, and young adults, and especially for those who may be oppressed for many reasons or have other concerns that they cannot easily bring to other ministers or their family. Being a sanctuary in today's world may be increasingly necessary, just as it was for our abolitionist Unitarian ancestry. My fellow UU religious naturalist, JD Sallinger, wrote this about us in a letter to our group that he posted last Thursday. We will harbor one another. We will set aside the word mine. We'll embrace the always intimate presence of our vulnerability. And we will open our doors to the even more threatened among us. Just as this day's dark clouds conceal slivers of light, we will conceal the innocent from the rampaging forces of hatred. If necessary, we will construct railroads underground, in car trunks and shipping containers, with floorboards and pronouns and courage, and we will do this because we have always done this. After the service today, here in Statesboro, we will have a coffee break and then our annual meeting. We have important decisions to make, not only for our future, but for the future of Unitarian Universalism and all that we stand for in this community. We invite you to stay for this meeting and be a part of this important discussion. We need you. We need one another. Yes, we will have some difficult times ahead, but there is hope. Don't give up. Stay strong. Stay involved. Keep living and loving. Oh, may it be so.